These guys have a combined net worth of over $1 billion, all from different business models, which makes it pretty hard to know where to start. Yet there is one system that unifies all of them, a system that works better now than it ever has before because we are now in the era of AI. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn this system and you'll understand how to use it alongside AI to kickstart your entrepreneurship journey and get ahead of 99.9% of the people in your life. Let's get into it. Okay, so in order for us to decide what makes a business model the best for beginners, I've created a framework conveniently named the BEST framework. B for barrier to entry, how easy is it to get started? E for earnings potential, how much can you realistically make? S for speed to market, how quickly can you launch and start making money? And T for technology, how innovative is the model? And I'll come on to why that's so important later on. And we're going to get straight into this. I'm going to be breaking down 5 different business models today, starting off with what everyone's talking about right now, and that is the personal brand business model. That is where we own our brand identity online, we build authority by creating content, we start gaining followers or subscribers, and then we start monetizing through affiliate, maybe through sponsorship or through some kind of product launch. And all of these entrepreneurs have an active personal brand business right now, from Gary Vee to Simon Squibb, Alex Hormozy, Neil Patel, Jordan Platten, which is me, Sam Ovens, Iman Gadsi, and Alex Becker, all making multi-7 figures just from putting content out there online. Now, we are going to be looking at these business models unbiased, breaking them down, their pros and their cons, and giving them a best score based on these 4 variables in this framework, okay? And we're going to kickstart with barriers to entry. So, with a personal brand, there's a very low financial barrier. You can get started literally with no money whatsoever. If you've got an iPhone or a smartphone of some sort, and you can start recording content. I've been putting out videos for 8 years now, over 900 videos on YouTube. Started off on my iPhone. Up to $500 if you want to get a camera, but get a cheap one when you're getting started. It will require content creation skills. That is something you will learn over time. If you watch my first videos, you'll realize I was useless at the start, but it's the confidence that really is the hard bit. That's the real barrier, okay? It's the need to overcome fear of judgment and criticism when you're getting started. It's stopping worrying what everybody else around you thinks of you, because realistically, you're going to get a few friends that take the mick when you first start a personal brand, start putting content out. But then they'll start asking questions, and then they'll copy you eventually when they start seeing you make money. So I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 rating. It is great barrier to entry with starting a personal brand. In fact, I think everybody should do this. So, earnings potential. In the first 6 to 12 months, you're going to typically earn under $1,000 per month. Okay, you're not going to earn a lot of money from a personal brand at all for a long period of time, because it's going to take a long time for people to even start finding your content online. Now, when you do start getting recognition and you've been consistent, you're putting out value, then you could scale to over $200,000 a month with a large audience. And this is when we're talking about sponsorships and affiliate. This is not when we're talking about leveraging a personal brand for another business, like a product business, for example, which is one we're going to come on to in a moment. This is specifically content-related revenue. So I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. It's great earnings potential for essentially just spending a bit of time every week uploading some videos. I've made many millions just from my personal brand over the past 8 years. Speed to market. Now, you can start posting immediately, okay? So we don't have to wait for some kind of ramp-up period. We can literally get started tomorrow if you want to. But it does take 1 to 2 years average time to make meaningful revenue, which is why many people quit like 3 to 6 months in. They're not making the revenue they want to, and they just don't realize they just haven't been doing it long enough. So consistency is the game when it comes to a personal brand before you gain that momentum. Okay, so it's a 4 out of 10 with speed to market. It's going to take a lot of time investment in order for you to get anywhere with it. Technology-wise, there is limited proprietary tech, that is tech that you can own and therefore build enterprise value on and eventually sell. Okay, and you are dependent on different platforms' algorithms. So if you're advertising or you're putting content out on YouTube, then you are dependent on however the YouTube algorithm is behaving at the moment. You cannot sell the business as an asset. There is no multiple whatsoever. I am going to be rating these businesses with a multiple. So let's just presume that you're getting into business right now, but eventually you want to sell this company and get into something else, unlock the next tier of entrepreneurship. With a personal brand, you can't sell it. So it's a 2 out of 10 when it comes to technology. So that gives a personal brand an overall best score of 22 out of 40. It's a great model and is being haloed right now as a new opportunity. Many creators are talking about it, but it's not new at all. It's been around for centuries. All we're really talking about here is taking control of the way people perceive who we are by putting out content that controls that perception. And that is something that all entrepreneurs should do, because your personal brand is something that will outlive any business you ever start, and you'll be able to use it for leverage to boost up any business you ever start in the future. Just look at Elon Musk, just look at Jeff Bezos. Everything they touch turns to gold, and it's because their personal brand is immaculate. So honestly, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not considering owning your brand, taking control of your brand, and picking a platform where you're going to start putting content out there online. You don't have to do this right now at the start of your journey, but I would seriously consider doing this as soon as you possibly can. And I wouldn't just rely on it as your sole model, because it's not really a business model in itself. It's just taking ownership of the perception that people have on you, which is your duty as a business owner. Okay, moving on to the next. Coaching/info. Okay, the online education space. Okay, we have Alex Hormozy, we've got me, we have Iman Gadzi, and many other people. This is a multi-billion dollar industry. So what's the barrier to entry like? Well, it's a medium investment, first of all. You're going to need at least $2,000. And I mean at least $2,000, up to $20,000 to get started here. For all of the software that you're going to spend, I spend about $5,000 a month on software in my business. And sure, we are a multi-7-figure education company. But even in the early days, we're spending multi-hundreds, okay? Education in itself, you have to learn how to become a good educator. You can't just get off your ass and start teaching something at random. You've got to be good at your craft. You've got to understand how to create good products. And you've got to understand how to market those products. So you're likely going to have to pay someone to educate you on how to do that yourself. Now, it does require expertise in a niche. You can't just start teaching someone about something you don't actually understand. You've got to be an expert in order to educate someone on things. And you do need sales skills in order to convert prospects. In the early stages, you're going to be the one that's actually selling your products yourself. So if you have no sales skills whatsoever, and to be completely frank, coaching and info products are not the easiest thing to sell if you've not got experience at all. You're going to have to learn that somewhere. So I'm giving it a barrier to entry rating of 4 out of 10, because there are a lot of hoops we have to jump through in order to get started. What's the earning potential though? So if you do qualify for this, how much can you earn? High profit margins, 50 to 70%. If you're running the business nice and lean, you can make a lot of money with this model. You can scale to over $1 million a month plus. Some people making $5 million a month plus in this model with successful products. Okay, your product has to deliver a result and actually help people. It's a retention model, so you get LTV, which is lifetime value, which means people are coming back again and again and they're renewing, of course, on the basis of them enjoying the product. And so the earnings potential is an 8 out of 10. This is an exceptional business model. Fulfillment can be automated to some degree as well. You can hire a team that can do most of the work for you. So it's a great model as far as earnings is concerned. Speed to market. 2 to 3 months to develop your initial product. It's going to take you a lot longer than you anticipate it being to create your first program or to plan out your first mentorship. You are going to need audience or traffic for the launch. So this will go hand in hand with a personal brand, which is why many people start a personal brand before they launch an info-based business. Or you're going to have to master paid ads. You're going to have to spend a lot of money, thousands on a monthly basis, on paid ads in order to get clients over the line. It's going to be 12 months plus in order to optimize a funnel and messaging. And what I mean by a funnel is your website, basically. It's a landing page that's going to squeeze people, just like a funnel, through the process of being completely cold, maybe watching your YouTube videos, then opting into some free resources, then looking at buying maybe a low ticket offer from you. It's going to be like $100 or $200, then ultimately buying your high ticket, which is going to be like $5K to $10K. Okay, so that is what a marketing funnel is. It's going to take you a while to learn that and optimize that over time. Very rare will you launch a funnel and it works from day one. So it's a 5 out of 10, okay? Now, technology-wise, There's limited proprietary tech, okay? So there's limited intellectual property that you can create. It's going to add value, and it's quite hard to sell still, okay? Because you're the leader of the business. Normally, there is one centralized educator, and it's very hard to sell a business where the education revolves around one independent person. You might, if you're lucky, get a 2 to 3 times EBITDA, okay? And that's an EBITDA multiple. EBITDA meaning earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, which is basically your profit after everything, okay? So it's a 4 out of 10 as far as technology is concerned, okay? We can't really bolt on AI. We can't really create proprietary tech, or most people don't, so we get those low multiples. That gives it a best score of 22 out of 40, okay? Not the best business model to start as a complete beginner, to be completely frank with you. Most people don't have the money to get started. If they think they do, they don't actually have enough money, and when it comes to advertising, they're really struggling and just trying to depend on organic methods, and they're just not experts. You have to be an expert in a field in order to teach someone about it. If you're not an expert and you're educating someone, you're a fraud. Don't be a fraud. Okay, so that is the coaching and info model. It's a great model to evolve into down the line, but for beginners, it's not the best for 9 out of 10 people. Next, we have a product business, otherwise known as e-commerce, okay? Or this also could be drop shipping. It's a physical product business, okay? We are selling a specific product that we've developed. Iman Gadzi has a product business. I think he has a couple, actually. He's got his glassware company, Gadzi. He also has Big Day, his drinks company. So you see lots of large following influencers with product-based businesses because they can drive organic traffic for low cost through to these products and make a killing off the back of it, okay? Any e-commerce business you see online, that is what we're talking about right now. So the barrier to entry, it's a high investment getting into a product-based business, which is why you usually see it's the second or third business that people start. Okay, there's a high investment. Okay, $20,000 to $100,000. That is not overstating it. Now, I own a product-based advertising agency. We spend $100,000 every single day on ads for product businesses. We work with companies making as little as $100,000 a month and as much as 10 million a month. Okay, I've seen so many companies launch, build, and scale in this space. Most companies severely under budget how much money they need for advertising in the early stages. Okay, a minimum of 20K is what you need here. Now, you also have to go through inventory management and logistics, so you have to figure out and learn all of that stuff. And you need to have strong marketing knowledge, okay? You can just throw money at this if you've got a lot of money in the bank, but I'm presuming if you're watching this video, you don't have a huge amount of money in the bank, and so you're not going to be able to afford to pay a great agency like mine in order to advertise on your behalf, so you're likely going to have to learn the marketing stuff yourself, and you're going to screw it up over a period of time as well and waste a lot of money doing so. So the barrier to entry is a 2 out of 10 on this one, okay? Because it's high. Earnings potential, though, in retrospect, it's pretty damn good. So lower profit margins, and that doesn't really matter because you have high volumes, 20 to 50% in some cases, but averages out about 30, 40%. You can scale to over 10 million a month with these product businesses, some cases 100 million a month, okay? But I'm trying to make this realistic to what the common top end is with successful products, of course. And you will have a repeat purchase model. So you will get that lifetime value again, because if people like your product, they're going to come back and they're going to buy it again and again and again. So when you get a customer, you make a lot of money with them, okay? Which means you can spend a lot to acquire that customer. So it's a 9 out of 10 as far as earning potentials are concerned. Great money, great businesses if you want to make a huge sum of cash. Speed to market, 6 to 12 months for product development and testing. It's going to take a long time for you to get the product right and for you to test out your advertising. There's going to be a need for manufacturing and supply chain. Okay, so you're going to have to get a supplier for your product, and that's after choosing what product you're going to go in and making sure you don't screw up what your choice of product is, and then getting the right supplier for that product and ensuring they can deliver the product on time. So there are lots of variables you have to consider. And then it's going to be 6 months to reach profitability at least, okay? A minimum of 3 months as you start advertising this, as you start figuring out what the best marketing angles are. So it's a 3 out of 10 with speed to market. Again, this is not something you can just start and start making money with instantaneously, despite what many gurus will tell you online. There are many people that will tell you, hey, start an e-com business, start a drop shipping store, okay? You're not going to make money for a long time. You're going to waste a lot of money and potentially never even end up making money because you've lost all of your resources in trying to do it in the first place. So I'm going to give you some better alternatives for you to get started. That's not shitting on this model because it's a great model when you're an experienced entrepreneur. Technology-wise, we're looking better, okay? There is some opportunity for proprietary tech and especially patents, which means that we are owning the intellectual property of the product we have created. That means we get higher enterprise value. So a 4 to 6 times EBITDA multiple, okay, so we can sell these companies for a lot more. Venture capital firms are all over product-based businesses. And there is a potential for automation and scaling. We can implement AI to help us run a lot of the business. It's very low team costs. And it's really just manufacturing costs and product costs and logistics that we're spending our money on. So it's a 7 out of 10 with technology. This is a good business to build in the plan to sell to later. In fact, many people start a product business only with the plan to sell it later down the line, and that's where they're going to make their money with that capital release. So the best score is a 21 out of 40, okay? And that's not to say it's a worse business model than these other ones. It's arguably the better business model out of the previous I've gone through. But as far as being best for beginners, it is not. This is an advanced business model that's going to put you in a world of pain if you try to get started in it too soon, okay? But have a dabble later on down the line. I'm sure you all will. I know I will in the future as well, and I'm looking forward to it. Next, we've got software, okay? A lot of entrepreneurs in this space right now that are popular online that you'll be watching. Hormozi, Sam Ovens, who owns school.com with Hormozi, Iman again, Neil Patel and Alex Becker, who owns Hyros. Neil Patel is one of the OG marketers, owns a couple of different software companies. He owns an SEO tool. Now, the barrier to entry, very high investment on this one, $50,000 to over $1 million for development. Now, I built my own internal data tracking software for our agency. That alone, it's not a public-facing product, I spent over $120,000 on for an internal software. So just think about how expensive it is to build a public software. I know people that have spent 600 grand on a software and never brought it to market. It's a very competitive space and things change very, very quickly. It requires a lot of technical expertise or a development team, okay? So if you're not going to develop yourself, you're going to have to hire a development team, which is going to be very expensive, highly skilled individuals, and it's a complex market validation and product market fit process. What I mean by that is you need to be in an industry and deeply understand the intricacies of that industry before you consider creating a software for it, okay? Don't jump into an industry in the early stages and think you understand it. You need to work with those guys for years and years and years to truly understand their pains and the nuances of what they actually need. It's a 1 out of 10 barrier to entry, okay? This is a hard business model to get involved in, and it takes an experienced entrepreneur. Earnings potential, though, we're talking extremely high profit margins, 70 to 90%, okay, depending on the software. Telegram is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have 33 employees. Sensational. Scale to 10 million plus with a successful product. You could scale into billions depending on the market, but I want to keep it realistic. And it's a reoccurring revenue model. It's software as a service. People sign up, they stay for a long time. And really the only number that you care about is your customer acquisition costs and your churn rate, okay, which is the rate in which you lose clients. You want to keep that under 10% and retain those clients so they're really happy. It's a 10 out of 10 earnings potential. Speed to market, 6 to 18 months. Plus for development and testing, it's going to take way longer than you anticipate to actually build a product. There's a need for extensive beta testing, so you want to make sure you test features before you release them to the public. 12 plus months to reach profitability. You're going to spend a lot of money to acquire customers. They might not be happy. You're going to have a high churn rate. It's going to take you a long time to get to a profitable place. So you need a lot of capital that you can afford to lose to get this kind of business off the ground. That's why it's a 1 out of 10 as far as speed to market is concerned. Technology, it's the highest level of proprietary tech on the other hand. You are building proprietary tech. This is your intellectual property, which is why they get maximum enterprise value. 10 to 15 times annual reoccurring revenue for a software, okay? Even bigger, like 20 to 30 times reoccurring revenue. That's not profit, that is revenue on AI-based softwares. Crazy, which is why I am investing so heavy into various softwares at the moment. I invested in Hormozi and Sam's School, for example. I've invested in Triple Whale. I've invested in Clay.com that just got $1 billion or almost $1 billion valuation. Okay, I'm so bullish on investing in different softwares, taking my profits from my companies and putting them into softwares because when they sell, they're going to get the big fat multiples and I'm going to get the big fat paycheck. And that's because at the end of the day, these companies are the ones innovating. They are moving industries forward. It's cutting edge innovation potential, especially when it comes to AI. If you create or you bolt on AI to a software business, the multiples you're getting at the moment are parabolic. It's a 10 out of 10 as far as technology is concerned. Yet it does still get a best score of 22 out of 40. in relation to beginners. Exceptional business model, like all of these models that I've gone through today, very future-proof, but not good if you are a beginner. You need a lot of experience to get involved in creating a software and a depth of knowledge in an industry. Now, that leads me to the fifth and final business model that I'm going to be going through today. Okay, a business model that Gary Vee is in right now, a business model that I am in right now, and a business model that Neil Patel is still in. But what is interesting is, as I referenced at the start of this video, there is one model, one system that unifies all of the people I went through today. And in fact, all of the entrepreneurs I've mentioned today started off with this specific model as their gateway into business before they then ventured into other models. Okay? That model is the agency model. Okay? It's the service-based business model. It's providing a service to somebody else in order to improve their life. Normally, it's providing a service to another business owner and helping them increase their revenue. Well, Mosey had a gym launch, which started off as an agency and ended up being a coaching business. Sam Ovens had his own agency. Iman had IAG. Alex Becker had an SEO agency. Simon Squibb had an agency that he sold for multiple millions, and that's why he's got so much cash right now. He built an agency to a level that most people never build an agency, and then sold it for millions upon millions to a multinational, okay? And then went into his next venture. All of these guys started in this space, which is why it is such a great business model, even right now. In fact, especially right now, we are in the world, or we're in the era of AI, and I'm going to get onto that. So let's go through it. The barrier to entry, very, very low. $0 to $2,000 for basic setup. $0 if you want to get started right now just by watching some YouTube videos. In fact, I'm going to give you a free course at the end of this video. It'll help you go out there and sign up your first client. You won't have to pay anything for that. $2,000 if you haven't got a laptop, you need to get a laptop, you need to get a phone, okay? You might want to buy some education, okay? But it's a very small barrier to entry to get involved in this business model. It requires very basic marketing knowledge, okay? You only need to be one step ahead of the prospects you're working with in order to be able to deliver a valuable service with them. And it's so easy to access this information when we have platforms like YouTube, people like me, that will teach you this stuff for free. It's a simple value proposition. It's one person helping businesses grow, okay? That's it. I'm coming to you. I'm offering you a service that's going to help you make more money and save time. It's logical. They're the two things that business owners want. So it's a 10 out of 10 barrier to entry. There is not an easier business model in the world that you could start more than an agency, easier than an agency. So the earnings potential, good profit margins, 40 to 60%. This will fluctuate over time as you start hiring team, and it depends how large you want to grow. We're at multi-seven figures, which means we're making multiple hundreds of thousands on a monthly basis. Our profit margins are closer to 40%. Other agencies that are floating around at, say, 50K around that mark, they're going to have closer to 60% margin. So the bigger you get, the smaller your margins get, generally speaking. You can scale, though, to 100 to 500K a month with a team. Now, you actually can scale more than this. We have an agency that I've mentored over the years. It went from $0 to $750,000 a month. They own 2 massive offices in the UK, over 100 team members. Their name is Soar With Us. The guys called Ollie Hudson and Joe Marston, who started that agency with me when they were in university. That's a very big business when it comes to operational stress, okay? I would usually recommend an agency not scaling beyond 500K a month, because that's when you're going to maintain the maximum lifestyle benefits and so on. And that's when people usually then get out of the agency model and jump into another model that they can scale a little bit higher with less stress in their lives. Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here on this stuff. Reoccurring revenue model. Now, you will get monthly retainers. When you sign up a client, they're going to pay you every single month. Okay, so when you get a client, you can keep them for a long time, so it compounds. It's a 7 out of 10 earnings potential. I hit 10K a month in 3 months after starting my agency, and I've seen other people do that as well. And I'm seeing guys who are starting right now using AI scale even quicker than I did, and it's frankly crazy how quick this industry is moving. Speed to market. You can land clients within 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, you get started, you learn, start outreaching, which is the act of reaching out to potential customers. 1 to 4 weeks, you can start earning money. The initial setup takes days, not months, and you can start making your first money within 30 days of making the commitment to getting started. It's a 9 out of 10 as far as speed to market is concerned. There's no product development. The only bottleneck that you're going to have is learning and then having the confidence to actually start approaching people and selling your service. Okay, 9 out of 10. Technology, it's a growing opportunity with AI integration. Now agencies more than ever are using AI to automate many parts of the business. In fact, I know agencies that are automating up to 80% of the work that they're putting into the company. Now, of course, that does depend on the service you're offering. It does depend on the demands from your clients, and I'm going to go through some of those variables in a moment. But with AI, bolting that onto an agency and becoming a tech-enabled agency, we can get a multiple of 3 to 5 times EBITDA, okay? Now, sure, that's not as big as a product business. Sure, that's not as big as a software company. But as a gateway business, and by that, I mean an entry-level business model that gets you started in entrepreneurship, teaches you all of the baseline knowledge, then you sell, make a couple $100,000 or make a couple of million if you've done really well. That's an exceptional multiple that you can then use and plug that into a product business or plug that into a software business to then get a larger multiple and take a bigger bite of the apple later on in your career. Okay, so this is a great gateway business. It's an 8 out of 10 as far as technology is concerned. So as a best rating, we're giving this a 34 out of 40 for beginners. This is without a doubt the best business model that you could start as a beginner. So where do we get started? I want you to lead today with an action plan for how you're going to go out there and start making money with this model. The first thing we're going to go through is what makes a great service. So you can decide what service you want to offer in your agency business. We're then going to go through the most common agency services, the opportunity of a century, and the best services over the next 5 years. You can pick one of those for you to get ahead with right now. So what makes a great service? First of all, it needs to be in demand, okay? High demand. Businesses actually need and want this. You don't want to be selling something to someone and having to drag them over the line. You want them to be biting out of your hand, and it wants to be something current and relevant. There needs to be a clear ROI, which is a clear return on investment, so it's easy to show how your service makes the money. It has to be reoccurring revenue, so monthly payments, not just one-off projects. Low delivery complexity, so you can actually do it without a PhD. There's no point running an agency that takes you 3 months to learn how to deliver the service. Automation potential, it can be systemized and scaled so it minimizes the amount of time you are spending in the business. You want a lifestyle business that allows you to have some freedom. And of course, it needs to be future-proof. It's not going to disappear in the next year. So with that in mind, I'm going to cover first of all some of the most common agency services. When people create videos like this, these are the things that you'll usually come across, okay? Web design, SEO, just search engine optimization, paid advertising, so Meta, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that kind of thing. Email marketing, writing emails on behalf of people, and content creation, okay? Either recording content, taking photos, and so on and so forth. These are the most popular agency services, not limited to these things. There are many other things like conversion rate optimization and so on. And I know many a 7-figure entrepreneur who started off with an agency in these services. Do I believe they are the best services for you to start right now? No. Because you're not harnessing the biggest opportunity that is around us right now, the opportunity of a century. Now, that's AI, okay? I've already alluded to this. AI is an industry that is growing at 38.1% per year right now, so it's set to hit 1.3 trillion by 2030. That's unprecedented growth. We have never seen an opportunity like this since the birth of the internet. So if you're thinking of starting an agency and you're not bolting AI onto your service, you are missing out on just literally holding on to the rocket ship and playing a part in where this industry is inevitably going to go anyway, okay? Now, companies with AI systems sell for 3 to 5 times more than traditional businesses. That's the difference between a 6-figure exit and a 7-figure exit. So I'm going to presume if you do want to start this business in 3, 4, 10 years time, you're going to want to sell this company. If you have AI integrated in the agency, you're going to sell for 3 to 5 times more than another agency that offers one of these services, okay? Why wouldn't you want to get more multiple? And agencies are a gateway business, okay? So you have to ask yourself, what gate do you want to open? If you start a web design agency or an SEO agency where you're doing search engine optimization, okay? You have to consider what gate that is going to open in the future. You're going to be spending all your days surrounded by other people that are involved in SEO, that want SEO. And so it might open you up to some kind of like maybe Google ads, or it might open you up to creating a software in SEO potentially. Or if you have an AI-based service, you're going to be exposed by other people that are in AI, and you're going to be talking about AI, and you're going to be forced to innovate within AI. So that means you're going to have a slice, a bigger slice of this $1.3 trillion pie by 2030. You're going to open the gate for yourself to get involved in the AI industry, which is the fastest growing industry in the world. This is why even established agencies like mine have pivoted to an AI-enabled offer. So we are more involved in a space that is moving a lot faster than the space we were in previously. So with this in mind, if we want to build, or if you want to start an AI-enabled agency, what are the best services that you can offer over the next 5 years? Well, the first one is AI content creation. Now I'm talking about personal branding. So working with people that want to start a personal brand and using AI to maybe clip short form, or maybe even create content from AI, mass content. So it's a low cost of delivery, but you can charge a lot for it because lots of people want to start a personal brand right now. Business content, creating AI-based content for businesses and saving them time. And also distribution. So taking long-form content, repurposing it across other platforms, or even taking written content and turning it into video scripts. There are many ways that you can get creative with AI content creation. It is a beginner rating of 5 out of 10 though, and I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because you do need to have some kind of content creation skills. You're likely going to want to come from some kind of videography or editing background in order to really pull this off effectively if you are a complete beginner. Next, efficiency automation. I'm talking about internal chatbots. So creating internal knowledge bases for companies, and allowing them to use them for their team and for training. We're talking about process elimination, so analyzing a company's day-to-day operations and using AI tools like Make and N8N in order to eliminate day-to-day tasks. And also AI agents, literally creating entire agents that replace entire roles inside of businesses. Now, a beginner rating of 2 out of 10 because you do need to have a depth of knowledge of an industry in order to build an efficiency automation agency. In order to eliminate processes, you need to understand what processes are worth having and what processes are worth eliminating, and you need to understand the nuances of specific industries. And also you need more experience in the AI space to create these more advanced automations. A great service, all of these are great services, but if you're a complete beginner watching this, it's probably not the best for you to start off with. Sales automation. So outreach systems, so any kind of business that that needs sales whatsoever or needs leads, which is most businesses, creating automated outreach systems that scrape leads, build lists, then send personalized emails to those people, and then automatically appointment set them on the back end. So entire end-to-end outreach systems. This might even be voice agent and phone dialing systems. It could be inbound phone dialing systems, and inbound conversion in general. So that might be customers calling up a business and then having a robot speaking to them on the phone and then getting them to take a specific action, whether that's to buy or to book them into a calendar. That might be speaking via text and using a tool like AppointWise to go back and forth with a potential customer. So there are all these different sales automations we can create in companies. But again, you're going to have to understand sales to a degree, and you're going to have some kind of level of business acumen or at least knowledge of a specific model and their pains in order to create these kind of automations inside of a business, which is why we usually find that people then evolve into these services as they progress and they get deeper into the AI-enabled space. That does leave us with the final service, which is the one I recommend the most to people that are getting started, and that is AI lead generation. What we would do is we would take control of building the funnel on behalf of a client, And in its primitive form, that would look like running paid advertising on a platform like Facebook, generating leads on a simple form on the Facebook platform, and then plugging in an AI system on the back end like AppointWise to appointment set those leads. So we generate the leads on Facebook to a form, they fill in the form, and then a robot speaks to those leads and books them in to the client's calendar. This is incredibly easy to set up. You can literally learn this stuff in under 7 days. That's why it gets a beginner rating of 8 out of 10. Now, another reason why I'm so bullish on AI lead generation is because this was actually the model I got started in 8 years ago, but way before AI even existed. I worked with local businesses, I generated them more leads, but back then I had to spend a huge amount of time helping them actually convert those leads into customers. Now, regardless, this is the model that helped me get to 10K a month in 3 months. It helped me make my first 100K month just a couple of years into business. And it's the same service that I've taught to thousands of people over the years because it just works. And now AI is around, we can deliver better results faster, spending less time on delivering the service, and we can charge 2 to 3 times the amount we used to be able to charge because the perception of AI is worth more than the value it provides. Okay? I'm going to say that again. The perception that AI adds to your service is more than the value it provides. So despite us being able to deliver a 2 to 3 times better service to our clients and spend less time, AI in itself perceptionally increases the value of our service because it's seen as an advanced technology and it is seen as the latest thing. And it creates anxiety in people. They know their industry is going to change. They know they have to innovate, and they know if their competitors get there before they do, then they're going to miss out on the opportunity. And much is the same for agency owners right now. Those that get involved in starting an AI-enabled service are going to be so much further ahead than other agencies that don't have an AI-enabled service. So if you want to get ahead, I've created a free course that will help you make money with this model in the next 7 to 14 days. I'll put a link in the description. And if you're watching this right now, I want to see you win this year. So go watch it, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.